Welcome, everyone. My name is Roger Upchurch, and we are here to introduce our podcast, Rescue Success, rescuesuccess.org. This is a 501c3 charity, and our goal is to help other people. We want to help people with addictions, whatever problems they may have. We want to help them, the homeless, whatever. Well, but one of our main goals is to help people that's been through the justice system, or I should say, the injustice system. We want to help people before sentencing, during sentencing, after prison, before prison, and all the way through. But for sentencing, we want to help people how to get prepared to go to sentencing, such as creating character letters and things like that the judge may have clemency on them. We want to help people give them knowledge of what they should do or how to act while they're in prison. But one of the main things, too, is when they get out of prison, how to get back into society, living with the ankle bracelet or supervision. That's what we want to do with Rescue Success by helping people. With that, we're going to have different topics. Our topics is not going to be the same each episode. We might be talking about the injustice system, as I mentioned, prison reform. We might be talking about the construction business, flipping houses. We're going to be talking about the medical, living with medical issues. Matter of fact, our next guest is going to be surviving cancer, which is really going to be good. So you need to stay tuned for that. So we have many different topics. We'll be talking about music, entertainment, and even some comedy. So it's going to be really good. So stay tuned for all of that. As I said before, Rescue Success is a 501c3 charity, and we count on your sponsorship money and donations to keep this operation going. We will be right back after the sponsorship message. We're back, and Rescue Success now is a continuation of a podcast we started before, and this is our first episode. So I think you should learn a little bit more about myself. All right, I'm from Newcastle, Indiana, and my dad was a custom home builder, and that's all I wanted to do is help him become a custom home builder myself. I worked with him building houses for many years, and we built houses from the ground up. There's nothing we didn't do. We didn't use subcontractors. We thought the sub might have been a sandwich. Didn't have any idea what subcontractors were. We did everything. I laid the blocks, staked it out, poured the footers, framed it, wired it, plumbed it, HVAC, everything in the house, my dad and I did ourselves. That's why today there's nothing I can't do about building the houses. As time went on, I built a few houses in Newcastle, and my goal was to move to Indy and build houses around the Geist area. I achieved that goal in 1987. I moved over here and I was building houses. Actually, I was framing other houses for other builders until I get established myself. One story, when I was getting ready to, a friend of mine that was Newcastle, very wealthy people, they moved over here in the Geist area as well. We went out to dinner one night. His name was Seymour, and I said, Seymour, I'm wanting to build a house and get a construction loan to do that. Would you co-sign for me to get a construction loan? And he looked at me and says, no, I'm not going to do that. My heart dropped. But he pulled out his checkbook and wrote me a check for $100,000. I will be your banker, and we will build houses together. I did that for many years. We probably built 20 or 30 houses as him as my banker. It was very successful. Unfortunately, he is gone now, and I built houses from 1987 till 1990 or 2009 when the economy crashed. Then I stopped building houses, and I was also a mortgage broker for 10 years of that as well. And in 2009, when the economy crashed, I stopped both of them. At that point, I was doing a charity or work and doing some networking, but then another friend of mine introduced me to a business that I took a look at. It was a synthetic marijuana business. I looked at it. It was all legal. Couldn't find anything illegal about it. So I said, yeah, I think we can do this. I started a little website called K2foryoutube.com. We named our product K2, and it took off like crazy. I was making several $1,000s a week just from that little website. And then as time grew on, It just got bigger and bigger, and then there's times I was making like $100,000 a day. Synthetic marijuana, what we did, only made your feel like the same as natural marijuana. As time went on, it was getting a bad name because other people were getting into it. We have no idea what they were putting in their products, and it wasn't like ours. The DA started getting involved, and as time went on, they was banning certain products we're using, which then we would use a different product that wasn't banned, but it is going on and on. But one thing I did with all the money I made, I was a true entrepreneur. I started a music business called Daddy Real Entertainment. I had a recording studio, a record label, concert promotions. I had 2 nightclubs. I was living a dream. I was hobnobbing with celebrities, putting concerts on with national artists, 38 Special, events with Coach Bob Knight, The Temptations. Ed Sheeran played in my nightclub. So I was living the good life, having a good time, but then all crashed. On February the 12th, 2014, the DA knocked on my door. And the sad thing about this, the DEA agent, his name was Lewis. Lewis came to me about 3 months prior to that, wanting to buy product from me. He wanted to get into the business. He said he had family that owns stores in Kentucky and Indiana. All lies. He didn't have anything. It was the DEA agent. When he knocked on my door, it was Lewis. It surprised me, but the government can lie to you, but you cannot lie to them. And they set me down in the table and interrogated me. There was another IRS agent, another agent there doing that. But then about 10 people come to my house, searching my house with everything. Unluckily, they found a suitcase I had in there with $500,000 in cash. They confiscated 2 cars, 2 houses, and over $2.5 million of money I had in the bank. And it was just unreal what they did. And after that, I got an attorney. To be honest with you, I didn't get a very good attorney. I think he was new because, even at that, this was February, and I had money to pay always paid my taxes, but the IRS come back and says, after the money they took, I owe taxes on the money they took, which is downright stealing to me. But so I've still got that issue of about $600,000 in taxes, which I had the money to pay it, but the government took it. Again, they can lie to you, but you can't lie to them. So that's sort of my story in a nutshell, but you can read more about my story in Guilty to Proven Innocent, my book. And my other book, Brilliant Minds in Captivity, is about me in the prison and meeting brilliant minds and telling their stories. While back to when they interrogated me and they were in that, I did go to sentencing, and I was sentenced to 4 years in a federal prison camp. I did spend 2.5 years in a Ashland, Kentucky federal prison camp. With that, while I was in there, I started writing. I wrote both my books while I was in there. Then once I got out in March 2020, I got my books published. And that's how I created the charity Rescue Success, because I wanted to help other people that's been through the justice system, as again, the injustice system, and wanted to help them throughout that. But there's a lot of stories within the book. While I was in prison, a lot of humor, a lot of funny things, a lot of jokes going on in the prison camp, and all over. And to be honest with you, I had a fairly good time in the prison camp. I was just without my family, but the camp is no doors locked. I had a job there. I started in the construction. I working on some houses outside the camp, and I quit that because I had problems with my legs, and I worked in a library. But the last year I was there, I had my own car. I was a town driver. I would take other inmates to Ashland, Kentucky, or Lexington, or Huntington, West Virginia, take them to the doctor's office, whatever, and taking them home. So therefore, I had Wendy's, McDonald's while I was in prison about every day, and it was fun. But they sent me out in the car. There was no phone, I don't know what I was going to do if I had an accident or car trouble, because I was by myself. But that was the fun part. But I had fun in there, and I was released in March 2020, and I had ankle bracelet for first year, a little bit less than a year. Got a funny story about that. I had a hip replacement after I got out, and then as I got out of the surgery, my leg was all swollen up. But actually, the doctor took off my ankle bracelet right before surgery, which is funny. We called him, we're going to take the ankle bracelet off. But then it was, when I got home, my foot was all swollen up. But the girl called and said, I'm going to come out and put your ankle bracelet back on. Okay, she did that. But once she put it on, she made it sort of loose. So as the swelling went down, my ankle bracelet just fell off. So I took the ankle bracelet, laid on my desk. You don't know if I went anywhere or not, but that's my story about that. One thing lead to another. Like I said, I've always been an entrepreneur and all the other things, and I want to get my word out. I want to let people know about different things like the justice system or any of the topics we're going to talk about. So once the thought about getting to charity and things like that, then I thought about, well, let's just do a podcast. In the previous podcast, I had did like 21 different episodes. We had a lot of different guests. Some of the guests were people that's been in prison. I had one guest that was a doctor in a prison and was telling his stories. I had another guest, Bobby Hayden Jr., which is a rock and roll star back in when he was a teenager. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show, had it big, but then he got into drugs and things like that. And he spent 10 years on Skid Row in California, living on the streets, living in a cardboard box. He recouped from that and he got it into ministry, and he's got an amazing story. It's on my podcast, and he created Cardboard Box Ministries, and that's Bobby Hayden Jr. Rescue Success, we want to help, like I said, anybody in need, but especially like the people that's been through the justice system. And they can contact us at Rescue Success on the website, rogerwupchurch.com. They can email me at roger@rescuesuccess.org. We want to help anybody that needs help. We can't help them unless we have our sponsorships help us, and your donations will go towards that. If somebody calls and needs help, once we figure out what type of help they need, whether it's monetary or just counseling, something like that, we'll get them into the right person to help them and do everything we can to help them. Financially, if we try to help somebody, we want to see what their really needs are and help them that way. I do work with another charity called Cars for Heroes. We give cars away to needy veterans, and I've given cars away with Gene Simmons, a KISS, the mayor of Indianapolis, the governor of Indiana, Lady A, different artists. And we do that a lot of times. We'll have a concert, we'll put on a concert, and at the concert we'll give a car away. And every time we've done that, we've had the TV station show up because it's a very good cause.
Cool. Anything else you want people to know about you?
Well, I'm not sure if there's anything else right now at the moment, but like I said, you can read more about me through the books, and you can buy them on Amazon or rogerwupchurch.com. And again, our next guest is going to be Mark Light, and Mark has been a cancer survivor, and that's another thing. I'm also a cancer survivor. I had prostate cancer, and we have a lot in common on that, and he's got a very good story on our next podcast. We want to bring in many different guests that's related to the topic we're going to have that day. Like we will have some guests like in the justice and injustice system. We'll have some people that's been in prison. We might have some attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, judges, different people that's in that topic. If we talk about construction business, we'll have some people that's does fix and flips, loan officers, and that type of thing. So every topic we'll have a guest that's related to that topic. Well, I think there's a connection about any topic. In the construction business, a lot of the workers and people you get to help is sometimes having problems, and it's very hard to find help right now in the construction business. And but there's a lot of people that need it's in the construction business. And one thing, I wouldn't have a problem hiring somebody that's been through the justice system, been in prison. Some people give that a negative name. When they get out of prison, they need to get a job. And I would suggest anybody that don't discount them because they might have been in prison, because they could be your best worker. As I said before, Rescue Success is a 501c3 charity, and we count on your support and donations and the sponsorship money to keep this podcast going. We will be right back after this special sponsorship message. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay tuned for our next episode, which you can find on rogerwupchurch.com. Click on podcast. Our guest will be Mark Light. He is a cancer survivor and has a very other stories, and he speaks on resilience. So you don't want to miss that. Thank you.